teach our little ones the value of...
Stop speaking for me, honey.
How long have you been in an unofficial courtship?
13 years. Married for 10. Dating for a total of 13 years. We've been together since we were kids ourselves.
That's a long time.
Thank you.
It's my job to determine if that time has created an unfavorable atmosphere to raise a new human fit for our society.
A nice single-set film shot primarily from 2 camera angles with a few inserts. They made the most of a small set and cluttered it up nicely so it looks like the office of an overworked bureaucrat. The premise is highly unlikely, but the verisimilitude of the performances made me suspend my disbelief.
Well written, well set up. The lighting was great, and really they took great care to create this atmosphere for this story to be told, for these parents to get approval to have children of their own through their own bodies. Actors made great choices in this. The editing was very well done. It was a terrific pace. Sound was great, and just really thought the story was carried out well and told well.
I loved this concept. I thought it was really clever and really creative, and it kind of lent itself to have a lot of good content that it could work with, just based off the premise alone. So I thought that was really well done for me. I thought that the setting was like so spot on of what I would imagine like some like basically nameless, faceless government employee that has to do 50, 60 interviews like this every single day. That is exactly the kind of office that I would assume it looked like. So that like really like put me in it. So that was, and it was like the details too, like the stacks of papers like on her desk, how it was like kind of organized but just a little messy, and then like all of the kind of details and accents all around the room. For me personally, it really added to the movie, and it really added to my experience watching it, because like I said, it really put me in the room, into that moment, into that place. So I thought that was super well done.
I really appreciated the premise to it, and then taking us through the different interviews and, you know, meeting people who we might preconceive as qualified to be parents, and sort of turning that on its ear, and just exploring the different options and seeing the different perspectives to it all, all in the context of this world, which was all limited to one room and managed to keep me interested for the duration, which is always an amazement to me. So they do pull it off rather well.
The production design was really strong. The casting, I feel like, is what makes it. It was, I feel like, it was super easy to get a clear sense of who these characters were, which is also, give to the actors for really coming through on that end.
It has me imagining a society in which childbirth is monitored in this way. Of course, when the tables are turned, the single mother would be the most likely candidate. I liked all of the characters, their charms and their flaws. All were really well-rounded. I actually appreciated that the counselor was a hard woman and then softened up when she met a proper candidate. The little details were fun, like her crowded desk, for example, and her void and approved stamping. All actors and actresses and personalities were stellar, and I felt like I was experiencing each of their unique perspectives along the way with them.
It's such a unique story. When I first started watching it, probably a lot of people assumed, I thought it was an adoption center. So when the first couple starts talking about how it's their right to have kids, I started to get confused, but then I realized that this was like a different world with different laws, and I just made the story like all the more interesting because it is a very unique law, and it's almost crazy to think that that actually might be something that could happen one day. All the different couples and characters were so unique, and it was very satisfying to see that the person who was approved was actually a single parent. just the contrast between how real adoption works, how it's so hard for single parents to adopt children. It was very interesting to see how in this world it's not really about whether or not you're a couple, it's just more about if you are, you know, like good enough to be a parent. So that was really interesting, and the story all around was very interesting to watch.
This was super original. Like, I enjoyed how we didn't, at the beginning with the first couple, you kind of assume that they're applying for adoption, but then you realize, wait, they're applying to have just like a regular natural born child. And I was like, oh my God, this is really scary. Like, if something like that could actually happen in the future. I mean, but then I think, well, it kind of makes sense. A lot of really bad parents out there, but also the government should never dictate my personal life and what I choose or choose not to do with my body. So that was it was like a wild concept and a very interesting thought experiment. But I also really liked how they did approve the like single woman of color who's an entrepreneur, which is so unlikely. Like, they rejected these like nice white couples because they are in like these toxic relationships. But this like single independent woman came in there and got approved. And I was just like, yes, girl, get it. Go get your baby.
Really good concept at its center about an alternative future in which parents that want to have children, whether it's through natural or via insemination, what have you, have to get pre-approved by a government agency prior to being able to reproduce. And it highlights many of the problems that often arise from people trying to decide whether they are fit to have children. And what we see in the conclusion of it, that a single parent is actually the most ideal and competent candidate, I think thematically represents how we as a society are evolving in our own ideals and our own morals and values about what a true parent and what a true healthy household looks like. So I thought the film did a great job at showing the evolutionary scale that we've kind of gone up to as we look at parenting and what we view as acceptable and non-acceptable.